Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and video show which brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, and experience from hundreds, no, thousands of successful individuals from around the world. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe so you won't miss a new episode. I'm your host, Frits Busselmaker, and today I'm delighted and privileged to have a conversation with Bershan Shaw. Bershan, welcome to the program.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Hey, Bershan, my default introduction to any guest in the program is would do a small summary of what their background is. And in this case, I'm going to skip that because based on you could say the homework I did looking at your profile, I think you're very good at introducing yourself. So I want to give you that opportunity and see where we end.
I love that.
Who's Bershan?
Oh gosh. Oh, Bershan is everything. A force. I call myself a multipreneur. I think I made that up, multipreneur, because I would say I do a lot of things. I'm a businesswoman. I'm a friend. I'm a motivator. I'm a mental health activist. I'm a founder of a training and executive and leadership presenting company. I am a founder of a mental health app. I'm an author. I am a TV personality. They call me an influencer. I don't know if I like that name, but whatever, influencer. I would say the biggest thing about me is I'm a change maker, right? Wanting to change the world one person at a time through mental health. That's what I would say. I would say mental health is my passion. It's my torch that I'm going to carry around the globe.
Okay. That is about 75% of how I would have introduced you, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. Because when I go online and I do the research, I'm getting a number of other messages, and it just hit me that you did not include that in your presentation, in your introduction.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So let me keep going. Talking about yourself, Fritz, it's so hard. Well,
I was,
so when you go online, it's very funny. So people see actress, and I'm not an actress, but I was on a television
yeah,
show
yeah,
called Real Housewives of New York. And because they are all around the world with over 100 million hits, that comes up first, actress. So
yeah.
I was a life strategist and a life coach on the show. And I am a breast cancer thriver survivor. And so that's a big part of my life too. Doctors gave me 3 months to live for 16 years ago. They told me cancer was all over my body and to get my affairs in order. And I'm here today, December 19th, going on 17 years cancer free, no evidence of disease.
Yeah. Uh, I don't want to jump this on you, Basham, but that was for me the elephant in the room, which was missing because it was so clear that is at least in the online presentation, which comes out, okay, that's something which sounded like or read like, okay, a very fundamental part of your life, like a tipping point, which really changed you as a person,
Yep.
which also maybe may guide you in what you're doing right now. Because when you uh, is it a before and after, or do you see a couple of things you've described what you're doing? Is that related to your illness, which I'm very glad you survived and completely recovered from?
Thank you. I would say, yes, I would say that my life started down one highway, and then I took a turn,
Yeah,
and I made a U-turn, and it's another highway. I think getting diagnosed with stage 4 terminal breast cancer changed my life. It was 2009, and I just thought that everything was going okay. I was in New York City. I was a restaurateur. I owned 2 restaurants, and I was an investor in restaurants when I was really young, 27 years old. And I think I remember so clearly that my back started hurting so bad. It was terrible pain. I couldn't bend down, I couldn't move, nothing. And I started going to doctors, chiropractors, wellness doctors, and no one could figure it out. So they just thought it was a slipped disc until someone said, take an MRI. Now I'm a
Mhm.
little bit afraid of MRIs because I'm claustrophobic. And I still thought it was a slip disc until I went to the doctors with my fiance and my stepmom, and I thought it was a regular day. And the doctors told me to sit down. Now, no one wants to hear sit down.
Yeah.
Um, 7 doctors came into the room and said we kept going through the charts and the notes and looking. Miss Shaw, you've been diagnosed with terminal breast cancer. And I was stunned and shocked because I really didn't know what to say. I was stuck. And the only thing I remember saying is, uh, what what can I do? And the doctor said, do you believe in miracles? And I took a pause because this was all just, it was, it was, ah, I can't even tell you. It was explosive in my mind. It was confusing. I was scared. I was angry. I was mad. It was hurtful. And I said, hell yeah, I believe in, hell yeah. I said, what do I need to do, doc? And he said, do you believe in miracles? And I said, hell yeah, I believe in miracles. Yep, I believe in miracles. I said, I'll see you in 10 years. I believe in miracles. And I remember going out into the hallway, getting on my knees and say, God, if you keep me alive, I will make impact all around the world. Just keep me alive. I will help people realize that with you, life is possible, that we can push through anything, but the power of within can push through. And I think that's been my journey and my path, changing lives, pushing through, finding the warrior within. And this just, it became a movement for me. It became, I got diagnosed 2 times. The first time was stage 1, and it was very small. And the doctor told me, don't even think about it. It's so small. I did radiation. I was embarrassed to talk about it. But when I got diagnosed with stage 4, I said, this is my journey. I need to talk about it. I need to share. It's bigger than cancer. Cancer is just the disease. It's
Mhm.
what's the cancer in your life? What is your cancer? And so that became my movement. What is your cancer that you're dealing with? And it became my movement, my business, my life, my passion. And that's where I am today.
That's a very unique way to define cancer as a metaphor, as you number one challenge. Um,
Mhm,
like that thinking. Now, it's obviously a very important segue. I do want to spend time a little bit on what you did before that, because you owned a restaurant for quite a number of years, as
mhm,
mentioned.
mhm.
Even before that, you worked on the Today Show as a writer.
Yep.
So it's quite an interesting leap from a Today Show writer, which in itself is a very ambitious job, I would assume. Then all of
Mhm,
a sudden, restaurateur, which is um, as a foodie, I love people who own restaurants. Uh,
mhm. Right.
and
Right.
and then I would say, post you are very much a global motivational speaker. Was that always going to be in the air? I know you cannot repeat history, but do you feel that what you're doing right now, independent of that episode in your life, that was going to be in the cards anyway?
So funny how I got into this global speaking and global training was I started a clinical trial at Johns Hopkins, and I said to myself, I'm going to be different. I am not going to let cancer beat me. So I would come to chemo dressed up in sequins and faux furs and heels and lipstick. I always wore lipstick. I always had my hair done. I never wanted to be in sweatpants because you are what you think and you are what you believe. And I started passing out things to the patients and like, you are what you think, you are what you believe. We're warriors. We can do it. We can beat it. And I think it became a movement in the hospital. People would be like, who is this girl in like the green dress or the red sequence? And everyone wanted to know. And my doctor, Dr. Alicia Emmons, was like, I want you to speak at this major event. I want you to be the keynote speaker. And I was like, me? The keynote speaker? She said, yes, because you're like the poster child. You're living, not dying. And every day I was scared, praying to live. Please, God, keep me alive. Please, universe, please, whatever is out, keep me alive. But when I did this keynote speak, I had written something up to the T all night long because it was my first time ever speaking to a large crowd. It was like 5,000. But when I got in front of everyone, I tore the paper up and I said, "Mm-mm, I'm speaking from the heart." And I said, I shouldn't be here today. Doctors told me I wouldn't be here. They gave me a 3-month diagnosis. It's now a year and a half. But let me tell you, I'm not a statistic and neither are you. Don't you dare be a statistic. Be a goddamn warrior. And I raised my hand, and this woman in the audience raised her hand, and then everyone stood up and raised their hand. Be a warrior. And that became my movement. Warrior, be a warrior. And so I had a long line of people wanting me to speak for their companies, to talk to them. Am I a coach? Am I a therapist? And so, funny enough, I went back to University NYU, got my master's executive coaching, and here I am. I started Warrior Training International. I became the warrior coach. And now I launched my mental health app, You Are a Warrior. So everything is about mindset and owning who you are. And what I have realized, because I've spoken all around the world, India, Australia, Africa, London, Paris, everywhere, what I realize is what holds people back is mindset, not believing in themselves, thinking they're imposters, don't believe they deserve to be there, don't believe that they should have. We tell ourselves so many different things. We beat ourselves up. I'm not smart enough. I'm not bright enough. I'm black. I'm white. I'm a man. I'm a woman. Da 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 da. We tell ourselves, we talk ourselves out of everything. But what if you just realize you're amazing? You're a warrior and you could do it. What if you just turn the story around? That would be special. And so that's what I do, help people find the warrior within in businesses, right? So cancer is the diagnosis, not the prognosis. So what's the cancer in your company? What's the cancer in your family? What's the cancer inside of you? Because we all have a story. We all have a warrior story. Whether we want to tell it, Fritz, or not, we have a story.
Powerful. I'm very tempted to keep on looking at the warrior part. Still want to go a little bit back, because do you long for the period when you just owned the restaurant, and was that meaningful and joyful for you to do that?
Oh, no. I was young.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. I owned a big restaurant. One was 5,000 square foot, one was 4,000 square foot. And I was by myself because I had a partner that burnt out and had mental health issues. So when I tell you it was working day and night and day and night, but it was where I first learned about business, about being a leader. Having 40 people work for you at 29 years old, 28, 29. I mean, that's a lot. Like you learn business quickly. You have to get ebbs and flows, ups and downs, and you learn about these things.
But how did you then end up owning that restaurant? Was that there had to be something in you which
Oh yeah.
to do that?
So this is a funny story. So I literally worked at a bar on 51st Street, and I was like the number one bartender. I mean, I would ring in about $12,000 a night or $14,000 by myself a night. Liquor bar, that was the good old days in the early 90s, in the late 90s, when people had expense accounts. So people would come to me. It would be like a party, come to see Bershan and like have a drink with her, and I would know what you're drinking. You're drinking a Cosmo. Here's your Jack and Daniels. Here's your gin and tonic. All of that, and so I became really good at it. Where the owners wanted me to partner with them. They were like, "Your sales are incredible." I would make 3,000 a night, 2,000 a night, easy, while I was finishing college. And so someone said, if you opened a restaurant, I would be your first investor. And they were. And I was like, hey, let's go for it. He's like, you don't need to work for anyone else. You're the brand. We're all coming to see you. And so I took that. So the brand called you. So the brand called you is the brand was Bershan.
Great. Good.
I bet on myself.
Okay. Now, what you've told me so far, it's always somebody else who suggested, okay, when you open a restaurant, or can you be a speaker? Can you be a coach? Um, Obviously, you took that on board because you did all that.
Mhm.
But is there anything in there which, okay, well, no, this is my choice. This is what I want to do. So I'm not pleasing the people around me, which see me in a particular way. Is there something out there, and that is me. That's pure me. That's not something which was handed to me as a suggestion.
Well, I would say my whole life. I would say after that, my whole life. I mean, every choice is me
Yeah,
now.
good.
Um, I would say when I say cancer is a gift, is it woke me up.
Yeah.
It woke me up to start living, to stop being a people pleaser, to stop being afraid and just go for it. So I started a whole Warrior Training International, a big coaching consulting company for companies all around the world, and I started motivational speaking when everyone said they only hire men. Well, they haven't met Bershan,
Mhm.
right? They'll
Yeah.
hire me. I work for some of the biggest companies out there. My teams and my business, I mean, a big company, right? Huge companies, multi-billion dollar companies, right? And they said I wouldn't be able to speak, I wouldn't be able to coach the leaders, the executives from government to private industries. And that was their story, not mine. I've done it. And
Yeah.
so, me now, I launched a mental health app. In technology, it's 98% men.
Mhm.
Women aren't even in technology. I used my own money, I self funded my app, and I launched. They said you couldn't do it. They said it was too hard. They said don't spend the money. They said.
Who's they, by the way?
People,
Pe-
whatever, people, friends.
Strangers, close friends,
Right.
business.
I mean, in technology, launching an app is magnanimous. Are you going to launch an app with no technology background? Yeah, because I'm going to learn it. And I did it. Right. And so when I say they, it's people who are living safe and they're cautious and they don't go for their dreams, but I do.
So is then the fundamental message: dive in a deep end and learn to swim as you go?
Yeah. Be a warrior and just do it. Don't be afraid. Be a warrior. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. Now, you also mentioned I was a people's pleaser in your training. Do you want to then reprogram people or make them aware of their own choices? Because there's a difference between those two.
So both, right? So make people aware of their choices, right? Because people like to blame people.
Mhm.
And you can't blame anyone but yourself. You have to take responsibility. So take responsibility for your choices and your actions, and then reprogram people that so we only know things, we only learn things from what we've been taught and what we've seen. As a child, you learn from your mother and father, and then you learn on TV and who you're around. But so, I mean, your parents can say they hate this, they hate this. They like so. Okay, take for instance, if your mother doesn't like dogs or your father doesn't like dogs, oh, every time you see a dog, you run away. You're scared of a dog. Da da da. The kid grows up to be scared of dogs. They see a dog and they scream, but the dog has never done anything to them. A dog has never bitten you. A dog has never done anything wrong to you, but your behavior comes from what you've been taught and what you've seen. Now let's change that. Let's bring a dog up to you.
Mhm.
Pet the dog, and the dog licks the kid's hand, and the dog jumps up and gives them a hug. That's training and teaching them a new way. That's what I do. I train people, and that is being the warrior. The warrior isn't always the fighter. The warrior could be the one who's trying,
Mhm.
the one who's overcome, the one who's pushing through, the one who's trying to get by. It all goes with companies, leaders, individuals. Because in every step,
Yeah.
there's a part inside of you,
And how in this case would you define success?
is what you want. Don't let anyone else define it. You define it. Success is what you define at your most highest level that you want to achieve. It's only you. Success could be the mom who wants four kids, and I've done the best I can do. I have four kids. They went to college. They all have good jobs, and we're a family. We spend so much time together. That's success. Success for someone else could be, I want to cash out of a $20 billion company.
Mhm.
It's just defined by you at the highest level.
Got it. Hey, is Bershan the warrior? Is that 24/7? How does your family cope with a warrior in the room? Or can you turn it off when you're at home?
Oh, that's a good question. Good question. I think Bershan is on her journey too, and she's learning too. I think Bershan too is a real person and a motivator and an inspirer and all of that. But Bershan is a real person and she needs her own time and she needs to relax and she wants to just have fun and turn it off. So yes, I'm learning that too. It's the journey of ups and downs and sideways, but to take care of me. Yes.
Hmm. Now, we've already discussed a number of questions I like to ask our guests, like your biggest learning, what are milestones, or some people have more milestones in their life. You have one very significant big one. But are there more milestones in your life? Hey, that's actually for me, that's been a learning point in my career, my life.
Believe it or not, this is going to be something very interesting. I spoke on a stage with Tony Robbins, Les Brown, these huge names. There was a young kid that came up to me. He was 10 years old. He bought my book. He said, Miss Shaw, can you sign it? I said, sure, of course. I said, wow, you came to hear me speak? He said, yeah, I looked you up. He said, something inside of me woke up when you said, no matter what, don't let anyone put you in a corner. Don't let anyone define you. Be a warrior. He said, Miss Shaw, I want to be a football player. I want to go to the pros. Do you know this young kid, his name is Marco, has been following me since 10 years old. He updates me through social media. He got drafted for the pros.
Wow, that's commitment.
That is a story that's probably one of my most monumental stories. And we still talk today.
Hey, and how often do people also share with you their failures or brilliant failures and how to cope with that?
All the time. All the time. I think when I share my story and I'm vulnerable, it opens the door for them. I think that's the number one pathway. I think that's the number one thing they
So,
share.
yeah, what did you learn from your failures and mistakes?
I've learned now to every time you every time you fail or you make a mistake, it's learning. What did you learn? I turn everything into a learning experience because everything really is. The moment you stop learning is the moment you die. The moment you think there's nothing more to learn, there's always more to learn. Life is nothing but a journey, and you're learning every day until the day you die.
Can I also paraphrase that you're going to be a warrior until the day you die? Can you see yourself doing something else?
Can I see myself doing? I mean, I would want to be a jazz singer, but um, I think I think this is my calling.
Yeah.
I think it's. I mean, I know it. I don't think I know it's my calling. I I had to realize. So I have over a million followers,
Mm.
but I had to realize. Someone said, "You're looking at being an influencer as someone who's getting in front of a camera, taking pictures of clothes. That's not you.
No.
You influence people every day by the things you do, by the support you give, by the motivation you give, by the inspiration you do, by telling stories, by being open. That's the influence you do. And I think it's my life.
Great. Bershan, I'm fascinated by our discussion, also a little bit almost upset looking at the time.
Right.
As always, it's too short. We cannot discuss somebody's full story in the average hour, half an hour we take. But um, where do you draw your inspiration from?
Mm. My dad, who was my hero, he's no longer here, but he taught me no matter what, keep going.
Why was
Um,
he your hero?
Oh, my father, I had the best father ever. When you talk about father, my father was the best. I mean, my dad, he never missed a birthday, never missed a cheerleading practice. I never missed his birthday, never missed a Father's Day. We were like this. He came to see almost every speaking engagement I've ever done. I flew him there to India, to Australia, to London, to Rome, because I wanted him to see the world with me.
Hmm.
My dad would give cards out to the people at the grocery store. Watch my daughter, she's on Fox. Watch my daughter, she's on NBC. Watch my daughter. I mean, to have that support, he's my rock. No man like him.
I like that. It's very basic. It's very simple. Just be there.
Yep, be there. And he was there every step of the way.
Yeah, because how did your family react when you got the news? How did he react?
Um, he was stunned, shocked, but he said, I got you, baby girl. I got you. We're gonna beat this.
So did you tell yourself I'm a warrior, or did your dad whisper that to you? You can do it.
I, I would say my dad whispered it to me. And that became the word. Yep, for sure.
Great. Hey, almost at the end, Bershan. What's your advice to those young people out there starting their life, starting their career?
Mm. My advice would be don't be afraid to fail and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Push through and be a warrior, whatever that means to you.
Bershan, thank you so much for sharing your story, your life story with us. Very inspirational, and hopefully the audience will find it just as well interesting to
Oh,
listen to as I had. Thank you so much.
thank you so much, Fritz. This is amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.